It's the moment you didn't know you're waiting for.
He is Carter.
He's Chad.
And this is the
Irish 365 podcast.
Welcome in, Irish 365 Nation. It's officially fall camp week, right? We're 5 weeks out from kickoff.
It is.
Camp starts this Thursday.
We've got camp Thursday. Players are reporting. I think you and I are going to be on campus on Friday. Maybe we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, right?
No guaranteed interviews, but we'll see what happens. Okay, we might be at the golf course. We probably won't see any players.
Yeah, I mean, pretty exciting stuff. We've been golfing a lot this summer. We've talked about that in a couple other episodes. But, decided to treat ourselves, and we got a tee time at Warren Golf Course for the first time on Friday. I'm excited for that. I know something you've wanted to do for a while, something that I'm excited for.
So, we'll be on campus. The athletes will be on campus, and, it's tangible, right? Like you said, Hall of Fame games coming up this weekend. So, football season is upon us. And we won't talk NFL. We'll talk strictly Irish at this point. We'll get in some Irish in the NFL, I'm sure, as we get closer to that season. But
I'm sure we will.
So I think kind of an interesting exercise is X has been crazy. There's been a lot going on. We've talked about doing this. We want to do a cover of just ranking teams from most confident win to least confident win. Not saying we're not saying we're going to predict the schedule this week. We'll do that in a few weeks. We'll go play by play. We'll dig deep, but just look at the initial schedule. We'll say who we're most confident about to least confident about, and I think that's going to warrant some conversation. I'm wearing Catholics versus conferences today because the conferences they have a lot to say about the Irish. We seem to come up a lot for being a non-conference team.
Not being at any of these other media days, the SEC, Big Ten, all the other ones. Like we seem to get mentioned quite a bit in these days, huh?
Yeah, you expect to hear the Notre Dame name come up when you're talking to the ACC and you're at the ACC, media days. But
6 games.
Wow. I mean, Big Ten, a lot of talk about the Irish. SEC, a lot of talk about the Irish. So I guess it's good to be Irish, and we are no longer irrelevant. We don't need to join a conference because we participate in all of them. So
exactly. All right, so you want to run through this schedule? From what I understand, we're doing this. We're ranking them 1 to 12.
1 to 12. Most confident win to least confident win.
All right, so do you want to start at the back then? Do you want to start with our most confident win, least confident win? What do you want to do?
I think we start with the most confident win, and I think I think we go Hall of Fame ballot style. I think we take these teams. We could probably break them into groups of 3 or 4 and say, this belongs in a group of 3, and then we can figure it out. So as I look through that and I say, okay, what are the 3 teams I sit here and I'm most confident in? Obviously, Purdue is on my list.
Yeah.
Boston College, maybe Navy and Pittsburgh. And Stanford might be in there too. I
was going to say Stanford's in my mix. Purdue 100%. Boston College.
I don't think they've got enough coming back.
Yeah, I think Boston College has got to be. I think Purdue Boston College is the lock there for the first 2, and then the third one's a toss-up. I think Navy's going to be pretty solid this year. Now, is it a situation where it's like last year where they're come in undefeated? It could be. I think Stanford is going to struggle again this year. Give it a year or 2, they'll be solid, but you go Purdue, Boston College, and Stanford.
I would agree. Those are probably the 3 that I'd put in that first block and say those are the 3 I'm most confident in. Ranking them, I haven't seen Purdue doing a whole lot in the transfer portal. I know Andrew Luck's trying to change things dramatically at Stanford.
Yeah.
And so that's a year away.
My most likely to win, I'm going to lean Purdue just because it's a home game.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And Stanford's probably my number 2 because
really over Boston College after we had Boston.
I think Boston College is more of a trap game. But you're coming on. We should be good because I think it's a bye week Boston College, and it is bye week Boston College then Navy, right?
Yeah.
So I would say the USC game is one of those, could go either way. Stanford means so much. We're going to want to win that Stanford game more than anything. It's either going to be a crown on the end of a really good season, or it's going to be we're just mad taking it out on somebody. I don't see this team giving up on Coach Freeman, and I don't see us being in a position where we're not in the hunt for a college football playoff. So I think that Stanford game is going to mean a lot. So Purdue, I'd say Purdue, Stanford, BC in that order would be the way I'd rank them 1, 2, 3.
All right, Purdue, Stanford, BC. All right,
you with me?
So then What's it? Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Right.
That works.
So now that second group of three.
Yeah, I think I gotta go Pitt, Navy, NC State is where I'm laying.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think NC State. I was just debating Arkansas versus NC State.
Yeah, it's just a home versus road deal for me. I think Arkansas is going to be a tough atmosphere. 11 a.m. local kick. That won't be used. We'll be used to that.
It'll be humid. It'll be humid and hot in Arkansas, but we got Indiana. We got Indiana corn sweat going on. I don't think it'll be.
Yeah, and I think Syracuse could also be in this mix here.
See, I think Syracuse might fall in that third group of me as far as a tougher win. I think. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the group you've got initially. We're going to go NC State over Arkansas. I think NC State's a more likely win.
Maybe NC State there.
Yeah, I would go. I would agree with that.
All right, so at that 4th slot, any particular one you're feeling?
I want to put Pittsburgh in that 4th slot, but I almost feel like Navy belongs there, and Pitt maybe goes 5. I think Navy's probably an easier. Navy's going to be good. I just know we're going to be out athleting Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd go. I'd just say Navy 4.
Yeah, and then Pitt there.
Then Pitt.
Yeah. And NC State's a team that I feel like always plays us very well. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've lost some games to them, and just like they're a team that just plays us well every freaking time. I'd almost consider them in the next group. Like that one, if it was at NC State, I would feel they're a much harder game to win because we have had some where we played down there, and it's the monsoon one. I mean, the one that a couple years ago where Aldrich had that hot dog that excelled him to a big touchdown late. But
yeah, well, I think
there's been some really close battles between them.
With NC State, you know you're going to have wide receivers, you're going to have good athletes, and you know you're going to have a good defensive line. And I think if there's any place I'm a little, I think it's the defensive line for Notre Dame. And how good is the offensive? I think the offensive line is going to be good. By the time we get to NC State, offensive line should be hitting their stride. I'm much more worried about our offensive line's continuity in games 1 and 2 than I am, game 5.
Yeah. All right. So I'm assuming there's 7, 8, 9 slot. We're going to put Syracuse, Boise State, and Arkansas would be my guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would agree with those in that next group. And that's why I think the debate gets interesting, right? Who's most confident in beating in that group?
I lean Syracuse in this group just because it's senior day. I know obviously Angeli's coming back to town. They've done very well in the portal, but late in the season, hopefully it's cool. Purdue's got some athletes out wide, but I think it's going to be a game where we'll out physical them. So that's why I lean Syracuse in this situation.
Yeah, I would agree. I think of that group of 3, Syracuse is the one I'm the most confident in winning.
Yeah, now this Boise State, Arkansas, I mean, I think both teams, they're going to be solid.
I'm going to say that we're more likely to beat Boise State than Arkansas, only because your argument, Arkansas is at Arkansas 11 o'clock.
Yeah, and these games are back-to-back weeks. I mean, those are going to be 2 good ones.
And here's the thing that concerns me most about that Arkansas. You go to Miami, you go to A&M, you could be 0-2, you could be 2-0. If you come out of that 2-0 and you steamroll Purdue, Arkansas looks like a classic trap game all of a sudden. Like, you're feeling good, you put up 50 points, and now you're going to, you're 3-0, and, the letdown could... I don't think we'll have the letdown, but if we're going to have it, I think Arkansas is a place where a letdown could occur.
Yeah. And they're going to be excited. Arkansas is going to look for that challenge, you know what I mean? If we are 3-0 coming to this game in top 5, top 3 team in the nation. So, I mean, there's everything on the wall for... I mean, I don't love that stretch, that Arkansas, Boise State, NC State stretch, and then you got USC to follow. I mean, it's 4 straight weeks. You're like, those are going to be some darn good games.
Our schedule's weak. We don't play anybody.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally a schedule this year. I'm like, I like some of the teams we play, but I just hate the layout of it, honestly.
Yeah,
because it's like you go and run. You got these 2. You start on the road at Miami. Then the next week you're on a bye week. Like, if we beat Miami, or even if we lose Miami, it's going to be like, man, I can't wait for Notre Dame to get back out there. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to sit on you don't want to ride that high for 2 weeks. Like, man, I wish we were playing again. And if you lose that game, I have to think about this game for 2 freaking weeks. Like a bye week 2 just sucks for me, in my opinion.
Going 1-0, that bye week will be a lot better if we go 0-1. If we lose Miami, that's going to be the worst bye week ever.
Yeah.
I don't love that. So all right, we've got that 7, 8, 9 group. We've got
So that gets us to the 10, 11, 12. That puts us Miami, A&M, and USC.
Got to be most confident in that group about beating USC.
That's what it seems like. And I don't know if you saw, one of the podcasts out there on X today posted USC's schedule walking into us. They basically played Michigan the week before, and that's about it. Like this legitimately could be a big time Notre Dame USC. I'm sure USC will be ranked higher than they should be in the preseason poll, because they could be 10 to 15, in my opinion. If they find a way to beat Michigan, it could be a top 10 matchup, which would be awesome.
Yeah, they'll be talking top of the Big Ten. They'll be, if they beat Michigan, that'll just ramp up the excitement about the Notre Dame game. And the media will feed that narrative, especially with all the stuff going around with Lincoln Riley, and he wants to play us, but his interest is in protecting USC. And,
all that.
And how's that translate when I hear, well, I want to play Notre Dame, but my number one responsibility is protect USC. What do you hear?
I hear we're not good enough to beat Notre Dame right now.
That's right. I'm afraid of you guys is what I hear. Yeah. So, Lincoln.
Maybe some other time when we get a little better. I might still have a job here.
But that's the reason he dumped out of the freaking Oklahoma job. He went from the SEC. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he thought he was going to go to the Pac and clean things up, and they're like, surprise, we're going to the Big Ten. So, yeah. If Grant State fired, he might go there.
Miami at the road or Texas A&M at home?
I honestly think I am less concerned about Miami on the road than I am A&M at home. I think Miami is going to be athletic, and I think Miami is going to be good. But I just think about how long it took Riley Leonard to get in rhythm with the Notre Dame offense because of the injury in the offseason. And I think, okay, Beck's going to have that same sort of situation.
Yeah.
And Cam Ward willed Miami to some wins last year they shouldn't have got. And so I think
that atmosphere is going to be rocking. So I think I'm with you. Like Texas A&M is a much better team, but that atmosphere I know is going to be.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for a first-year starting quarterback.
I just have more confidence in us against Miami coaches than I do. I think Elko's going to bring it more to the table. So yeah, I would say that I'm going to put Miami ahead of A&M as confidence of a win.
Yeah. I mean, this is a game where I could see our defense scoring twice. Like, bunch of turnovers. Offense will be interesting in this game, in my opinion, just because it's going to be tough to get things going. It's going to be tough to hear. Going to have to have basic plays, I feel like, in this one.
Yeah, and I've heard some things, in social and what have you. There's talk about, Denbrock's going to move the quarterback underneath center some. The expectation this year that could be something both CJ Carr or Minchie do. And again, you get away from the whole clap thing, and you can use the silent count by raising your hand, and you can help a lot by being under center.
Yeah.
And that may set you up to have two backs in the backfield to put Love and Price in the backfield at the same time, kind of a situation. Go one tight end and two backs in the backfield. So it'll be interesting, and we don't know what we're going to get, and I don't think anybody's going to truly know who we are or what we are until after the A&M game. I think you're going to do certain things at Miami that are going to be critical to beating Miami, and you're going to have some things that you're working on starting next week, prepping you for being an A&M that's going to be specific to A&M. So I think that'll be interesting. But yeah, I'd say I'm least confident about an A&M victory of anybody.
Yeah. I think that's a fair list. I mean, let's run through it. So at the top, most confident, least confident, you got Purdue, Stanford, Boston College, Navy, Pitt, NC State, Syracuse, Boise State, then Arkansas, USC, Miami, and Texas A&M. Yeah, I feel really solid about that list.
Yeah, I'd bet that confidence level.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, we got a good variety. I mean, when you look at our schedule, we're looking at playing. I mean, we're playing all the big conferences, right? I mean, we got everybody in there.
Yeah.
So that just goes back to that whole conference conversation and everything that we heard. We talked about Lincoln Riley a little bit in the USC Big Ten, and I think when you talk about Big Ten, you got to laugh about what really comes down to is Franklin. James Franklin at Penn State has clearly got Notre Dame living rent free in his head. I haven't seen that much craziness since Lou Holtzcott and Ryan Day's head a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, well, I've been saying this for years, and I'm not just talking about Notre Dame. It's like, who are you talking about then, man? Like,
there's not a lot of independence, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't even think, because I know BYU was at one time, but they aren't anymore. I know Connecticut was, but I don't think they are anymore.
Well, Penn State was at one time.
Yeah.
Not too long ago. I mean, just 15, 20 years ago, Penn State was independent, and they couldn't financially survive, so they had to join the Big 10. So, yeah, it may have been longer 20 years ago, but it's maybe 25 years ago.
But it's one of those things, though, where it feels like after that Orange Bowl, I mean, just that, you think of that press conference before the game, how much tension felt like between the teams. Like, before they even kicked off, and the game was just an absolute battle. I mean, I feel like we'd even say this if we lost, like, the fan base would still be going at each other. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's like, it feels like Notre Dame and Penn State have some beef, and I know we put something out on X, like, how electric would it be right now if you could schedule a Notre Dame, Penn State home and home?
Oh, yeah, sign me.
Like, the tension between these fan bases, and I think Penn State fans would absolutely sign up for it, too. Now, is it a thing where, obviously, college football scheduling is out so far, like, maybe it's gone by if it's 4 to 5 years from now, but it's like, give me it next year and the year after. Could you imagine Notre Dame, Penn State home and home? Like, because I think both programs are going to be in the top 10. They're going to be in the college football playoff discussion next
years. I think we got two teams that are really strongly positioned to be in the college football playoffs the next 2, 3, 4 years right now as we look at it. So,
and it's arguably the two teams that haven't won a national championship in recent that are probably the closest.
I would agree. Of the people who haven't won in the last 10 years, they're definitely the closest. Because when you start looking at the college football playoff, and I don't even want to try and predict that, but you're going to look at Georgia, you're going to look at Ohio State, you're going to look at Clemson. And people are sleeping on Clemson, but Clemson's been there recently, and it's like, I would agree. Notre Dame and Penn State are the two teams that are on the cusp, and that's probably leading to some of the Penn State angst. They know they're close, and they thought they had their game to get over the hurdle. And there's a lot of reason as a Penn State fan to look back at that game in the Orange Bowl and say, "Oh, we could have won it." And they couldn't. If you couldn't walk out of that, we talked about that night. You couldn't walk out of that stadium as a Penn State fan and not feel like, "Oh, we let one get away."
Oh yeah.
So yeah, they'd love.
Yeah, but we would have lost that game. We would have said the same thing though.
So maybe it'll set up. Maybe there'll be a rematch this.
I won't be surprised if we get another bowl game or playoff game against them this year or next year. I mean, it seems like, it could even be a national championship game, but Penn State's still got to show they can win the big game. And I'm not talking about postseason. I'm talking about regular season too. Like, until James Franklin proves that, I think we got them.
I would love to see Notre Dame at Penn State or Penn State at Notre Dame in that college football playing game with a little bit of snow. And I'm going back to the 90s, the Snow Bowl. Like legendary stuff So maybe we'll get that. So that kind of interesting. A lot of SEC talk. Notre Dame come up in the SEC a lot. Now the coaches were a little better. I'll have to say that they didn't talk the trash in the SEC, but Notre Dame did come up in the SEC conference. So that was pretty interesting to see. And then,
and there's on the SEC, I feel like it was mostly everyone's got to be playing the same amount of conference games is mostly where it came up at, and then a little bit Notre Dame came up.
Yeah, well, it's not fair. Notre Dame doesn't have to play a championship. They should have to play a play-in game to the play-in game. That kind of stuff. But I heard on a different podcast I was listening to this past week that and it was on a recruiting site. So I don't encourage too many people to get into recruiting because don't put your hopes and dreams into the ideas of 17, 18-year-old kids. But the interesting conversation was they were talking about negative recruiting has changed a lot toward Notre Dame, and it's getting harder and harder with Marcus Freeman to say, well, Notre Dame's irrelevant. Notre Dame can't win. Like Notre Dame's not cool. Like, they're an old. Yeah. He's torn down some of those. So now it's to the point where literally NIL is being used to leverage against Notre Dame, and the accusation was NIL money's being offered to kids to not take unofficial and official visits to Notre Dame, and that's coming out of the SEC. And I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. That's really interesting that they're actually saying, hey, we'll give you a couple $1,000s if you don't take that official visit to Notre Dame. So that says a lot of respect and a lot of fear for Notre Dame right now amongst even the mighty SEC teams. But I think I saw something might have been on X where someone was talking about NIL money, and not to get too far down that path, but they were saying that the Big Ten is gaining because the Big Ten or the SEC has always had money being poured in from car lots and small businesses, and the Big Ten is giant tech and Hollywood money coming in. So there's a lot of bigger amounts of money coming into the Big Ten, and that's why the Big Ten's gotten so competitive in the NIL front. So, and that argument to be made, Big Ten's closed the gap on the SEC when you look at recent past performance and postseason specifically. So,
I mean, back-to-back national champs out of the Big Ten. I mean, that doesn't speak volumes to the landscape of college football. I mean, Big Ten's got it right now. I don't think they're as top to bottom as the SEC is, and I like to be one of those guys that hates on the SEC a little bit because they are a very good conference.
Yeah.
But the SEC is much more middle heavy versus the Big Ten. You know what I mean? Like, I'd take the middle teams, the SEC beating the middle teams. I know in bowl games it hasn't played out and whatnot, but that's just my opinion. In the middle of the Big Ten, like, if Ohio State's playing Illinois, I'm not giving Illinois a shot. They're probably 28-point dogs most years. I know Illinois has got the hype this year, but it's just one of those things where I think the middle of the SEC provides more of a game than the middle of the Big Ten.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think that the Big Ten's the top 4 teams. The SEC is top 4 or 5 teams, and they're really good. Then you have that fall off into that middle group. I would agree. I like the SEC middle group more than I like the.
I mean, would you rather watch an Ole Miss game or an Illinois game? Like, you know what I mean? It's the 5th or 6th best team in the conference.
Yeah, I'm going to be more excited about watching Ole Miss. I'm going to see better athletes typically, than I am at And I know Illinois has done some things. And they've recruited. And they've got some guys, but not buying into that just yet.
Yeah.
When Rutgers starts becoming a powerhouse, I'll start giving the Big Ten some respect.
Hey, I mean, Vandy said the quarterback Raiola came out and said, "Might we win the Natty this year?" I mean, I love the mindset out of Vandy, though.
But hey, Vandy's they beat somebody last year.
Yeah,
I mean they got that.
I was gonna say I was watching that replay game the other night, and it is crazy because it was on SEC Network. I had a friend text me and was like, "Hey, this game's on." Like, I might have to go back and watch. You forget how much Vandy was up in that game against Bama, and then gave it away, and then still came through with one. It was a heck of a win. That's a completely different subject.
Yeah, and of course, Bama just had the knockout drag out with like Georgia the week before.
Yeah,
and I think that it was kind of that letdown, like and then we're going to go into Vandy, and it's Vandy was rocking that night. And I'll tell you what, people in Tennessee are typically, especially Nashville, are typically Tennessee Vols fans.
Yeah.
I would happen to be in Tennessee that week, and it was crazy how hyped they were about Vanderbilt on talk radio in Nashville the week after. Yeah. It's like I didn't hear anything about the Orange. I heard a lot about the Vandy.
Yeah, that Tennessee rivalry, though, of Tennessee-Alabama runs pretty deep. They were for Vandy before they were for Bama.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I kind of want to get into this because I have seen a few things about like people posting their college football playoff predictions and stuff here on X. And I think people are forgetting that we've got the conference champs don't be that top 4 seeds this year. Like, you can get that bye without being a conference champ. So I think that's going to be interesting. We're talking about these 2 SEC Big Ten, how much weight they have. Are they fully expecting to have 2 teams with byes? I think that's what I think both conferences are.
I think they're anticipating that. And I think it's fair to think that, right? I mean, and I know I've heard different stuff, and who knows what'll shake out. But there's a lot of talk about just doing away with conference championship games and having play-in games.
But that's not this year, though. I'm just saying this year, like.
So what's Notre Dame got to do to get that bye? I mean, we look at our schedule, and
does Notre Dame want the bye?
I think we get a bye if we have a loss. If we have 2 losses, we don't. Well, I don't know if we do. Right?
I mean, obviously not going to say we want to lose a game. Like, that's not. No, that's not what I'm trying to say, but.
But you're not mad if you don't get the bye. If you get if you're 5-8 and you get that home field advantage first round play-in game,
exactly.
Game, the atmosphere, the buzz, the vibe was so great,
and I think that's why we got to make that second round a home game as well. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, going to the Sugar Bowl last year was absolutely incredible.
Agree.
But could you imagine Notre Dame, Georgia at Georgia? Like, it would have been sweet.
Oh, it would have been 3 times better. As good as it was, it could have been 3 times better had it been on my campus. So
no, maybe the game goes a different way. That's fine. But I'm just saying, like, that would have been incredible to be like at that game at Georgia.
I don't think you'll ever get that agreement only because of the weather. I mean, we talked about it. Notre Dame and Penn State are 2 teams that are in the hunt right now.
Yeah.
And no one's excited about coming to either place second week of January, first week of January to play a game. Like that. Yeah. Georgia's going to see that. Alabama's going to see that. USC's going to see that. Like all those schools, they're going to see that as a huge disadvantage. Michigan, Ohio. Can you imagine going to Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Notre Dame, like having to travel to one of those places the first week of January and play a football game when it's probably going to be cold and it's probably going to be snowing? There's Arkansas, Alabama, Georgia, Florida State. There's a lot of schools that would just not accept that. So as much as it would be awesome to get that second round, we're lucky we get the first round on college campuses, and they'll probably try and squash that in the 16-team playoff. They'll probably try and figure out, well, if Notre Dame gets, they got to play at Lucas Oil, or they got to play at Ford Field, or they got to play someplace indoors, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. But I mean, I'm just saying the college football playoff, the home games are the best part.
I agree, absolutely agree.
Or you just got to find a way, like, make the games more regionalized. Like, I mean, even if you say Notre Dame's playing, is the better seed and they're playing Alabama, maybe we get a game in, Lucas Oil or something. You know what I mean? Not predetermined these bowl sites for some of these, which I get, like the Rose Bowl is awesome, but just like Notre Dame and like if Notre Dame played Penn State in Miami, like that game was, I mean, that's just not close for anybody. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the atmosphere is incredible. Like, the fans did awesome, but could you imagine if it was somewhere closer to both schools?
Oh, yeah, 3 times the excitement. Just it would have been awesome. So I don't think we'll get that. I think that's going to be kind of the challenge, and that's the money's always involved, right, with the college football playoffs. And I think it kind of, you start looking out and you're projecting, and I think we're going to see the 12-team playoff this year. It's going to evolve to the 16-team the following year, and then how they're going to manage that. And I really think, we joke about the conferences, and I think we're going to go away from the conference model. I think it's going to collapse. It's going to happen. So
here's my last thing on the playoff. Obviously, we had we had the reseeding this year. I wonder if on the next one, the next change would be they adopt a similar model to the NFL. If the 7 seed beats the 2 seed, does the 1 seed get to play that 7 seed next?
Reschedule.
Or is it just going to be straight bracket? Because I can see college adapting that. So if you have a team that does upset someone, they don't get that. If you have the 16 upset the 1, they don't get that 1 route. They got to go play the second best team now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think this year will tell you a lot how it goes, because I think there were so many upsets in round 2 because clearly the better team did not get the automatic bye.
Right. That was very clear last year.
So they made that adjustment this year.
I'm glad they did. Like, props to them, really.
No, I agree. And so if it goes as they anticipate, I think you're going to see them stay with straight seeding all through the tournament. Yeah. But if it falls apart this year, then I think you're right. They'll go to we're going to reshuffle. Like, if this team wins or this team wins, that's who will go play number 1. The lowest seed team will go play number 1. The next lowest seed will play number 2. I think you'll probably see that depending on how it goes in the CFP this year. So
that's fair take. Yeah, I find NFL is like the only one that does that, like any other sport doesn't. But it seems to work pretty well in the NFL. It feels like most years you get the 2 best teams in the championship game.
Yeah, absolutely. The AFC, NFC championship games are always phenomenal because you have 2 of the best teams playing their best football at the best time, and that's kind of what you want to see in the playoff games. And I think we had that to some degree this year. I mean, the second round games were a little lackluster, but I think when you got to the semifinals, they were 2 great games.
Oh, yeah, semifinals were awesome.
Yeah, so that goes into fall camp. It starts next week. So what do we hope to learn in fall camp?
I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where you get all this information that you don't know what's true, what's not. It seems like the last 4 or 5 years we've heard so much positivity out of the Notre Dame wide receiver room. It's just like it hasn't came true. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. Like, I'm sure we're gonna hear but I'm gonna be the guy that says it. It seems like we got the best wide receiver room we've had in the last couple of years. With different transfers coming in, but Notre Dame hasn't hit very well on the wide receiver transfer portal. I'm going to be honest.
We haven't hit, even in recruiting. I mean, Great House.
Yeah,
I think could be the guy. I mean, Payson, we didn't even offer the guy a scholarship. I mean, we go play lacrosse and walk on. So we've definitely struggled in the transfer portal, in the recruiting, in development. I mean, are we improved over last year? Maybe. But I think we've improved every year, which has been the narrative for the last 4 years, which doesn't show how bad we were.
Yeah.
Like we may be improved and still may not have a true NFL top third round draft pick kind of a thing. I mean, just I don't know. Malachi Fields,
big thing coming up.
Thinks about.
I was gonna say the big thing coming out of camp is gonna be the quarterbacks. Who's QB1? I mean, that's gonna be what's the thing. My mind just always goes to wide receivers this time of year because it seems like we always get some hype and just hopefully something comes true from it this year. We see something from that. But quarterbacks is gonna be the main thing. Who's leading the offense? And I mean, I know media will have access for a little bit. They probably won't show anything useful. Let's be honest. It'll be stretching or something.
Yeah, they're not going to see anything. They're not going to see anything.
We're going to see something. You know what I mean? Hear something. And my other big thing is I feel like Freeman. I'm assuming Freeman will have a press conference either Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know if it's Wednesday afternoon, Thursday. I haven't seen anything about it, but make sure there's no injuries we haven't heard of. Obviously, we heard of a few, but Jagasol. But, I mean, it feels like sometimes that opening day you hear about 3 or 4 guys. You're like, oh, I didn't know they were hurt. Has minor surgery, major surgery, something. So hopefully to make it through that with nothing, you're like, oh, no, like Jeremiah Love. Like, hopefully, you know what I mean? It's like a big name like that where you're not. Is he going to be questioned? Like last year, Benjamin Morrison. Is he going to be able to play week 1? We don't know. Like, obviously, just hoping everyone's healthy. That's probably my biggest things right there. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
No, I think it's fair take. You know, we'll learn if there's any unknown injuries, and I think media access has gotten so much more that we'd know if there was something major. And then you just look at the schedule, and I mean, we'll break down players and positions next podcast next week. But you know, again, quarterback is the big question. Wide receiver is the second big question. We're a little weak at tight end compared to where we've been, but like if you saw some of the New York media blitz with Eli Raridan, he looks like a dude right now. So my only other question I think is after that is just defensive front. Defensive. I think we're going to be good on the outside defensive end, just defensive tackle. How good are we going to be there? I think that's the only because if we can figure out how to get pressure up the middle with just some defensive tackles and defensive ends and not have to bring in corners or safety blitzes, we become such a dangerous team. I mean, a lot of impression about how awesome it was that Al Golden played man so much, but he kind of had to play man because he needed to bring in like extra help to get pressure on the quarterback. If we can figure out how to get pressure on the quarterback, I think our defensive end play is going to be stout. Now the question is, can our defensive tackle play improve? So
just thinking through this fall camp, so do we get a depth chart Thursday?
Probably not Thursday. It'll probably be end of next week.
Okay. I was trying to remember when we get the fall camp depth chart. If that's right off the bat, they give us one. Obviously, there's going to be guys that are both marked 1, both marked 2. You know what I mean? But I was just I couldn't remember if we because that'll be interesting on the back end, like safeties, corners, and we'll probably hear about some maybe minor position changes. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I think you'll see a little bit of that, and I think there's going to be some freshmen on campus that are going to just wow people. I mean, you know, those that follow recruiting know the name Will Black, and the kid's coming in as a true freshman. Everybody says he's the next Joe Alt left tackle, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, a lot of people throw his name out there when, you know, the idea that we were going to lose Jagasol. And it's like, okay, the kid hadn't even taken a snap yet in the Notre Dame uniform. But so there'll be some of that, you know, speculation. But I think there's going to be some other dudes.
Sure will be very similar as well.
So I look forward to getting to that and talking about some of the freshmen that are going to be on campus and, you know, like Jadon Blair. I think that's a safety name that people need to learn. I don't know how much he's going to contribute as a freshman, but I think over the freshman
season. Hey, special teams, though. You'll see him.
Oh, yeah. I think there's some guys like that you're going to see popping. So I'm excited about that. But really, for me, wide receivers are going to be better, but they're only going to be as good as the quarterback can take them. I'm excited about the 2 quarterbacks we have in the mix. My concern is it's the old saying, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one.
Exactly.
And you know, no one's separated themselves, and it's like, what's going on here? So if we get anywhere close to what we want out of one of those quarterbacks, and one of them does separate themselves, I just can't believe that we're so freaking phenomenal that they're both so good one of them can't separate. So I am a little nervous about the quarterback position, and maybe that's just because it's getting real. But we'll learn a lot more. It's like I've been really good. Like I don't care who we go with, I'm ready. It's like why hasn't somebody separated? No, I'm saying.
So we're 5 weeks out when we're recording this today. When do we get a quarterback announcement?
I think you're going to be. I think players are going to know probably end of this week, next week. I think 3 weeks out, the players will know. Now, whether the team tips its hat to the greater good, that'll be interesting. And can they keep it quiet? Right? If you're Marcus Freeman announcing the starting quarterback, the hour before kickoff to the world is your best bet. I don't think that's going to be realistic. So I would say the general public won't know for sure till the week before Miami. I think the week going into Miami is as soon as we know.
You think it's a captain announcement? That's what I'm saying. Like, is it coming out with captains? Like, do you think whoever wins the job is going to be a captain then?
I could see that because, again, some of the things I hear around campus is Kenny Minchie's well liked. He's a dude.
Yeah.
CJ Carr is well liked. Like he's got command. Like I hear, like both those guys are great
guys. So.
They're both just great teammates, well liked, respected. So either one of those guys could be a captain. You can't make this QB2 a captain. So
yeah.
And yeah, so will it be announced that QB1's a captain the week before kickoff, and that's how it comes out? Possibly.
Yeah, I was just curious because it's all guesswork, right? We have no idea when it's going to be announced. I mean, the coaches I'm assuming they have a plan, but that's just kind of been on my mind. When do we think we find out?
But if I'm Coach Freeman's position, I'm not telling anybody. I do not want to give any advantage to anybody to study.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to give A&M the extra couple weeks to study it. Like, you know what I mean? You don't want.
And I find it. And I find it fascinating when you listen to like media and you see things on social or what have you. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's CJ Carr, it's CJ Carr, it's CJ Carr," and then they'll default to like, "Well, CJ Carr's got the stronger arm, and Kenny Minchie's the better runner." Now, I'm not going to argue that Kenny Minchie's not a good runner, but CJ Carr's a pretty good athlete. He can run the ball pretty well, and I have seen Kenny Minchie throw the ball. I don't know that he has any lack of arm talent. I'll put it that way. Yeah. In my mind, watching what I've seen the blue and gold game last year, I felt like CJ Carr probably made the decision when to throw the ball a half second faster. But I think Kenny Minchie was able to put the ball in windows that CJ Carr wouldn't dare. Now, I don't know if that's because CJ Carr just knows it's a tough throw not to make it, or if CJ Carr didn't have that arm confidence or arm strength. But I don't know that I just don't know that it's a set lock that it's Carr or Minchie, either one. And I could see arguments for both when you look at like Mike Denbrock's success and the quarterbacks he's had success with. Notre Dame wise, you go back to Everett Golson at 14, and you're like, boy, Minchie seems to have more of that skill set.
Yeah.
But you look at Jaden Daniels, boy, it's more Minchie. But I think people are sleeping on Carr. I went back and watched some of his recruiting film the other day, and it's like, okay, this kid can scramble. When need be, this kid can scramble. He's not Riley Leonard.
People are sleeping on both of them for different reasons. Like they're
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I think most people assume Carr's going to be the guy in the national meet and everything, but I do agree. People are sleeping on them, labeling them as two completely different entities where they've got some similarities.
I gotta say, I think there's a lot more overlap in their skill set than people realize, and to me that's exciting because God forbid whatever one QB1 is gets injured. I'm not fretting QB2 now.
Yeah, you're not going from Riley Leonard to Steve Angeli. You're not going from a running quarterback to a guy who's
more of a pocket.
Yeah.
And my biggest fear is you're going from Jack Cohn to Drew Pine. This guy's not doing great, and the guy coming in behind him is doing less great. Not that they're bad quarterbacks. I like both those guys. Okay, I like Drew Pine better than I did Cohn, but the knock on Cohn was he was not fast. He's not fast, and he was a guy that was recruited to play lacrosse, and I think it was a Wisconsin game where he broke a run off, and like, whoa. There were some athleticism out of Jack Cohn. So I think people like to, try and put labels, and it's like, today's quarterbacks, today's athletes. I mean, Especially if you're a high-level athlete like CJ Carr. You've probably been going to athletic training. You've probably got personal trainers. I mean, you've probably got maximized speed that people don't realize. But you don't have to show it when you got the arm talent he's got in high school. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on. It'll be fun to break down the position by position.
It's going to be a fun week on X, like they always are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to be on there. We're going to be going through the videos. We're going to be seeing what all the reporters have to say. We'll definitely be commenting. We'll definitely be putting stuff out.
And it's going to get more hype each week for the next 4. And then
I was going to say, we're there, right? Yeah. We're there game day.
Absolutely.
So, hey, we appreciate you guys listening to the Irish 65 podcast. Definitely check us out on all of our socials. Like you said, shoot us any messages. Tag us on X. Do something. You know what I mean? Get involved with us. We love talking to you guys.
Yeah, let's roll. I'm ready for the season. Let's go.
Hey, we're ready. All right, let's do it.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Irish 365 podcast.
You can find us wherever you get your podcast.
We are on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook.
Just search for Irish 365 Pod.
And you can always reach us at our email, irish365pod@gmail.com.
Good night,
and God bless.